I was waiting so long for my live to come on. It was spinning around and around and around and around. And there it was. So good morning, everybody who is going to be watching later on. Talk early. You'll hear me repeat this again. So coming in to do my morning live. Just waiting for people to join in. As always, my name is Corrie Thorne, the spiritual healer, and welcome. So coming in to do my morning. Welcome to my page. So every morning, or try to get in every morning. Wait, and there is Tracy Bennington. I love that you're first almost every morning, Tracy. So good morning, Brianna. Good morning. Welcome. I'm in between clients and coming in before I have to go for my massage. So just letting some people get in. Oh, all of a sudden we got a whole bunch of people watching. Good morning, Colleen. Joanne, good morning. Heather, hi, good morning. And Aaron, good morning. So for anyone who's new, I'm on both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So you'll see me talking, saying names that you may not see in the chat on one or the other, but I am here. You're right. You're like me, Tracy. You're in front of your computer all day long, right? Yeah, it's a forever thing. I'm connected. I'm plugged in all day long. Good morning, Sherry. So we're just coming in to do our morning live before I have to go for my massage. I hope everyone's having a beautiful day. There's not a cloud in the sky here in Leduc today. I just actually earlier this morning, I was downstairs getting ready to clean out some of my basement, getting ready to move to, I am moving to Sylvan Lake coming up in June. So I'll be moving more central in a few 2 months, not even 2 months, in a month and a half, the end of May. I'm going to be making another shift, another move, changing again. Hello, Cherry. So coming in to do my morning message before I head off. Oh. Yes, Sheila. Yeah, afternoon your time. Newfoundland time. Actually, Maggie and I were just talking about Newfoundland. Talking about trying to get my dad and Bet up here soon to see Sadie. Seems it's easier for people to come to Alberta than it is for anyone to get in Newfoundland. Okay. So this morning we're back into my cards. We're actually shifting up a little bit. I have another card today to use as well, but we are using my cards mainly. So the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards. So this morning, this card has come up 2 or 3 times as I've been just like channeling through the energy of today. And it is the Performer, and she is number 3. So the Trinity, the alignment, the mind, body, soul connection, whatever it is that resonates to you. I would say it's like, it's not 3, it's 4 type of thing. It's that whole full connection of when we fully connect into us. So the Performer and Sasha, let me just see if I forgot to open up these. And so she is the 3rd card in. And what Sasha the Performer tells us is that you don't have to put on an act and a facade for anybody. And so what we're being told right now is that, you know what? If you're having a shitty day, it's okay to let yourself have that moment, to not to act or pretend you're somebody you're not, or to pretend you're okay when you're not. It's like you can't fake it till you make it every single day. And so to be able to let yourself be you, and to let who you are be seen and shown who you are. And we spend a lifetime wearing masks. And so there's a lifetime of wearing masks that we see that happens, and we start to believe that to be our truth. So the mask that we wear, that false sense of self that we wear, a not true self, I call it in my work, is that not true self of you starts to become the whole persona of what you represent to the world. And you start to believe it to be true for you as well. You start to forget who you are. And that's what happens to us, right? We just do. And not gonna lie, I mean, I'm sure I've had some of that myself. I've played the rebel role for a long time in my life, and I'm probably the farthest from a rebel. I love Lether Tuscadera, but I don't know if I was ever really a rebel. I'm someone who probably is so, you know, I have tended to be an overgiver. I tend to be, um, I'm not a follower though, but I don't know if I would have ever called myself a rebel that kind of way. I'm and so those truths that you wear that you kind of convince yourself of. I call it your claim to fame moments that we have and that we wear it every day. Because you catch yourself, right? Sometimes catch myself doing this and makes it feel right like I don't really know who I am. Yes, exactly. So because you are told, because we're kind of told who we need to be, who we should be, how we should show up, the way we should act, that you start to lose the connection to who you are. You don't know who you are. And so it becomes a confusing act, especially when it starts in childhood. Sorry, I think I got an eyelash falling out. They need to be filled. and and so we find ourselves like, it starts way back in childhood. Now, when you get out in public, don't you act that way, or don't you do that, and don't you do this, and don't you do that. Now, don't be this or be that. And so it starts so early in life that you start to perform in your own life, and you start to become that. And when you start to step into your truth, people just go, "Oh, that's not who's she? Where did she come from?" Like it's like I know when I start doing this work that some of my best friends had no idea that this is who I was. I didn't tell anyone this through like didn't tell a lot of people out through my life of that this is who I was, and I hid these parts of me. And so when you start to become you, people go, "Oh, I don't know what happened to her. She's not herself," or "Why are you acting like yourself?" Children are famous for that, like your grown up children. Like you're not being yourself. Why aren't you who you used to be? Because once you start to evolve and you start to allow yourself to be you, there's no act, there's no facade. And I'm like, I got no act. There's no act left, there's no nothing left. And it's like, if this is not enough, then kind of too bad. It is what it is. But it's a constant evolution and improvement that is me returning to me, that I find. And that's what you have to remind for yourself, is that when people start to get like uncomfortable that you're not being who you used to be, it doesn't mean you have to go back. Don't you go backwards to become that, to make them comfortable. The moment you keep going back to doing the things that make everybody else comfortable, now you're losing yourself again. Now you're just giving over that power again. You're saying, that's okay. I'll give up on my happiness just to make everyone else happy, because they're happier with me being who I used to be. It makes everyone else comfortable. And when you do that, look what happens to you. Yeah, that doesn't work. Don't do that. And it's the same thing when someone tries to take on the personality, the persona of another, trying to, you find someone you admire, you like, or you see someone succeeding and you want to be them, or you try to act out them. You try to turn everything that you are into that person. And it's like, people see through that. And I just remember one time someone saying to me, that person has Correitis. And I'm like, what? And they said they have Correitis. They're trying to be you. And it's so obvious that they're trying to be you. And I'm like, I take it as a compliment to a certain point. And the rest, it makes me sad when somebody can't, if you could see what I can see inside of you, you would only want to be you. And that's the truth. If you could see what I could see, you would only want to be you, because inside of each and every one of us, who we were when we arrived was perfectly beautiful. The way we were, we didn't need to try to become anyone else. And the moment you stop and you just let yourself be you, oh, all of the exhaustion's over. It's like there's a relief. And it's taking off the mask. But sadly, most people don't even know they're wearing a mask, because they've been wearing a mask for so long. And that's the truth. Right? Yes, Sherry, it's exhausting. Exactly. Good morning, everyone else who's joining in. Right? Still, there's always soul searching to do. You'll always have soul searching to do. Absolutely. It never ends. Like it's forever, right? It's like once you start to awaken to being conscious aware of the things that you do that don't feel like you, there's no going back to sleep. And that's why I always tell people, it's like, as much as sometimes you try to get back into the box, you'll never fit in a box. You ever get like, just take one of those air mattresses, for example, that come in that little box and it's all packed up, and then you unfold it and you use it, and then you fold it back up. You take all the air back out and you fold it right on all of those lines again, and it still doesn't fit in the box. it's like the impossible task to get it fit back into the box again. And that's why they give you a bag, because the bag got more room to expand and it goes in the bag instead of back in the box, right? It's and when you give it a comparison, it makes sense. Why would you spend so many hours trying to reenact, revisit, trying to become somebody else? Why would you spend and invest so much time into doing all of that when it would be so easy to just get yourself, wear your own clothes, be your own person, be that identity and not be anything else? Because it just like, yeah, they eventually just go flat. Exactly, Tracy, right? Yeah, right. Overwhelmed. You're very welcome, Kaja. You're very welcome. Welcome, everybody. So thankful to see so many people here this morning. I'm like, good thing I don't get offended or have a complex about going from like my evenings when I was doing all of my evenings, like the room would be so full and it would be filled up from beginning to end. And mornings are not the same. Now, in the end of the day, it's like lots of people watch, but it's like, and yeah, so I get right excited when there's people in here. I only live on the inside of my house, so I get right excited to hang out with everybody every day. I look forward to it. And so, right, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. And so give it a visual, like give yourself a visual to be able to resonate to, and it just starts to make sense. Yeah. And please feel free to share this, to share these videos. Also, while I'm shuffling through the next message for us, and so because these are inspiration and attitude, that's what these oracle cards have become. They're the everyday goddess. They're inspiration and attitudes, what keeps us in alignment to us and what keeps us in check to being us and not trying to be anything other than us, to be able to move beyond our shadows, but to know we're not running from the shadow. It is what it is. We've done what we've done and there's no going back. Like it's like we're only going forward from here. We're going to live in the now and we're going to start to feel so much happier about who we are today and be able to take that version of us into the next new now, whenever that next new now comes. And so, yeah, while I'm shuffling through this and waiting for the card to come, I do have a new program coming out. It's called the Diamond Effect, and it's like an ascension program. It's a healing. It's about learning about the virtues, the witnesses, the observers, the change agents. It's about learning about the ascension and the opening. And I do a bunch of healing opening processes through all the 12, not all chakras, but through the 12 chakras. No, sorry, you get 9 in this one. 12 is in the next level. You get the 9 chakra healing cleansings, a whole bunch of processes that I do now, breaking your energy down into quadrants and really truly taking you on a big 9-week healing journey. And so that one is starting the end of April, and I'm so looking forward to it. I love any opportunity I get to do my healing work. So yeah, and so if you want into that one, you've got to go into the school. And our next card, speaking about healing work, is the soul connection. And I've been doing a lot of talk around the soul connection. This is Vedoma. And Vedoma is kind of that card that resonates back to when I started to do my first lot of readings, when I started to go out for the first time. And I remember this so clearly about when I went out for the first time. There was 3 incidents. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Just like that, Lisa appears. Just like that, there's Lisa. And so Lisa just shared the you can go check it out and have a look at it and see what you think. It's going to be a fun program. And so this is Vedoma. And so we're just bringing her up. And so when I first started to step out, first I say I had the secret. I was the secret reader. I was doing Reiki. I was performing healing sessions with people. And my Reiki sessions were not just like Reiki. I was doing readings and healing, like all this other stuff in my sessions. And people say, well, no, that's not like you're doing all this other stuff. I'm like, well, because that's just who I am. The moment I step in. So then I had a woman come in and she said, you're going to do a reading on me. And I said, I don't do readings. She said, you got a deck pile of cards. You do readings. And I was actually cutting her hair at the time. And I had done a whole bunch of training. My original training, I started with Doreen Virtue back years ago. And I went through Angel University, was her university, and it was based out of Australia, I think. And and so I started out there, and then I trained with her and Radley Valentine, and done all these trainings way, way back. And so when I first went out, is a friend was having an event, and I went to work at that event, and I'm like, no, no, no. And I had a picture up. But when I went to this event, I was like probably at the biggest I had ever been in my life. And my face, my rosacea was flared, my face was all broke out. And while I was there, the only picture I had been in Hawaii 2 years before that. And I was like way smaller. And that was the picture. And somebody came up and said, I'm looking to get a reading with that girl. And I said, that girl is not here today. Today you have this girl. She says, oh, well, are you as good as her? And I said, I would like to think I'm as good as her because that was me. And she says, well, what happened to you? What happened to you? And I said, well, I'm kind of human and I lost my way and I kind of put everybody else first and not me. So I could probably I'm an expert on women and women selling their souls to be there for everything else and not there for them. So maybe you should have a seat. And she did. And it worked out great. And so, but somebody else was kind of offended that someone my size would be there doing this kind of work. I should be the image of health and perfection. And every time I see that person now and I see them evolve and who they've become, and I always think, I wonder if they remember the words that they said to me that crushed my spirit that day, that made me send me back that shrunk me down for months. And it sent me I left that weekend. I ended up with a lung infection and I overheard them. They didn't say it directly to me. And I overheard that conversation. And after that, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to show up and just be me. And no matter what size I am, I have learned to love me. And so the soul connection is when you learn to listen to the soul self and you show up for all the right reasons. You don't wait to perfect it. You don't wait to be the perfect you. And there is no perfect us. I may be this size today and another size tomorrow. I may, it's like, you don't know what's going to happen, but it doesn't change the essence of who I am, who I was then and who I was in that picture. Not 1 ounce of that has ever changed because who I am as a person hasn't changed. And my Reiki is amazing. Yes, Ashley, I have to agree. I miss my Reiki. There's a whole lot of the in-person stuff that I really do miss. My Reiki sessions were pretty freaking incredible. For me, I mean, as much as they were for other people, it just fills my heart to be able to do any type of healing. So that's why I love the opportunity to teach any healing that I do. And so, when I would say that soul essence of me and who we are and where that came from truly was a part of who I was many lifetimes and who I am based on the ancestors, my grandparents, my family, those people that truly resonate and vibrate through us. And so if you can see in the pictures, you can see the image of shadows behind them. That's not her shadow. That's the spirit. That's our guardian. And the biggest thing that I have learned that I want to remind you all of today is that we all have a guardian, and how we treat our guardian and how we respect our guardian and how they sit back and wait for us. It truly is, when you look at it in the way of saying, I'm always saying I'm alone or I don't have anybody or I have to do it alone. How sad that must feel for our guardians to know that they have been given to us at birth and they travel with us and we neglect them and we think we're doing it all on our own. We get into this control story and we forget to ask our guardians to be present with us. And the beauty of who I am as a psychic medium is that I speak to spirit all day long. But I've also built up this incredible ability by listening to listen to God, to listen to that energy, that voice that speaks to me that just says, that's not your truth. That's not in alignment. And the problem is you're all hearing it, but you're not listening. Not that you're not always listening, but you neglect it. You go, oh, I'll go do that later. When you hear stop, go back or do this now, and you say, oh yeah, I'll do it later. You argue with yourself. And that's how you end up making yourself your enemy. And so being able to just show up as who you are, be only you, don't need a facade, you don't need a mask, you don't need an act There is no act. You're not here performing in a play, but that's the way life is, right? It's like we're always in that act. You're here to just live. And so the other part of this is that connection to the soul self and the ability to listen allows you to also be able to ask. When you learn to listen, you learn to ask. When you learn to go silent and you learn to not let your emotions control your environment and your world, then you start to be able to connect on a higher level. And that higher level takes you to be able to build a beautiful relationship with self. By building a beautiful relationship with self, it's not just about falling in love with your physical self. It's about learning to be able to communicate with you. And just because we all have intuition, and just because you have this intuition that's getting honed in, doesn't mean that everybody's supposed to become a medium. It means that you've now crossed that bridge. You've now opened up that connection so that in every choice, every decision that you make in this lifetime, that you're now learning to listen to your truth and not to be going to the imposter energy, the imposter light. You're learning to be honest with yourself, be more authentic, and be more real. And when that happens, you have a lot less, oh fuck, I wish I didn't do that moment. Oh God, why did I repeat that? Why did I do that again? And you spit out, as I used to always say to my mother, stop spitting out crow feathers. You stop spitting out crow feathers, because that whole, oh, I think, or I need to tell you this, or you need to know that. What is that all about? Right? And I always say that when you get a group of people together, and a group of people get together and they start talking, and somebody just needs to vent, and they just vent, and they just include somebody, and they're just like, she got on my nerves today, da da da. And then if you run off and you decide to go tell that other person what that person just said, you did that with an intention for someone else to feel as shitty as you feel about something inside of yourself. And as much as you don't realize that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. Why would you want to intentionally go out and hurt somebody else? Because that's what you do. So the moment you lay your emotional investment and connection into deciding that, oh, I need to tell everybody everything, or I need to give my opinion everywhere, is that sometimes you want to intentionally give that hurt. So the day that woman did that kind of in an area where I could hear her speak, and she was, I don't know what she was. I don't know what she was even doing there. She was doing something in spirituality work. And I heard her say that, like, ooh, what kind, she doesn't look like, she shouldn't be here doing this kind of work. And the person she was saying that to, obviously there was a whole lot of insecurity inside of her that I would become her target. And who was she to judge me for who I was? And if you really were to look at a lot of the healers that I've ever met, and a lot of medicine women in my life, they weren't little sticks. They're women who carry the weight of the world. They know the world's pain. And we as women who work in this industry, I'm passed down like medicine woman kind of shaman kind of healing. I feel the world's pain. So we carry the weight of the world. So if you're someone who carries the weight of the world, you probably carry excess weight. And it's often in that front part of us. It's in the sacral, the solar plexus, where you're protecting yourself, you're protecting how you feel, or you're hiding parts of you. When you got nothing left to hide and you don't need to be in such, and you recognize that this guardian that was given to you is here to protect you, you stop trying to add more onto you. You release it, you let it go. It is not yours to carry. That's your advice for today. So we're going to validate this with one last card. Hello, everyone. Oh, I love this card, and this is the box cover. Oh, good. I'm glad you get to catch me for a bit today. And this is number 1. This is grace. This is, becoming. You don't need to become a number 1 in the world. You need to become a number 1 priority in your life. And so we haven't seen her come out very often. So she also goes in alignment to the Guardian card. And I just got to shrink some cards here to bring her up. There we go. And so this is innocence, and this is grace. And so learning the power of walking in grace. Grace is really truly that connection to innocence. It's returning to that sense of self beyond the contamination of the mind. The mind, the one place, excuse me, the one place where you need to put a bridge that has a door is that mind that contaminates every other choice and decision that you make sometimes, so that you can learn get hiccups, so that you can learn to trust yourself, trust your body's feeling, what it feels like for you, and to be connected to that feeling. And this card was created and this was sent to me on the day Sadie was born. And this is innocence. So the return to grace is the ability to be able to see yourself as the child of God, as worthy of a human as anybody else, to have no less value than anyone else in the world, to be as important. So how you would talk to, how you would treat, how you would nurture a child is how you should nurture you. If you want to mother anybody when all the rest of your children are growing up, you want to mother anybody, start trying to mother you. Start trying to give yourself that kind of love. Are they 23 and 29? No. So there are three. We have 3 and 24. Close. We have 3 and 24. And so this is one, right? And so when you become that again, the priority, and she's a little bit like the paradox card, because this is the everyday goddess card, and she's got her angel wings, and so it's that angelic energy. And so there's a lot of connection to earth angels, and earth angels are very big right now. And so a lot of my readings, a lot of my channel messages are coming through of telling our earth angels, stop trying to be more than what you are right now. Stop trying to reach out there. Stop trying to become something. We need you to work on earth right now. We need you to be very earthly. We need you to be connected to earth. We need you to be able to walk in grace, because the world needs more hope right now. The world needs light. And so our light workers and all of that energy is needed right here on earth, to be humble, to be kind, to be generous, but in grace, in the power of grace, is to never lose hope, to never lose that sense of faith in you or in humanity, to be able to hold that true. And so her wings wrap around her, as that is the guardian wrapping around us. You arrive with that guardian. That guardian is in the 0 card. You can see her in the shadows of the guardian wrapping around the baby and the mother. You can also see it now on her. They say you come with 2 guardians, one predominantly, but it's like you come with these guardians, and I call the guardians your wings. And so you can actually feel your wings when you're working with me and you're doing a bunch of work with me. We go through the journey of your nubs. I call it your nubs, your angel nubs. And it's the 2 energy spots between your shoulder blades. And when you start to connect to trusting your guardians and communicating with your guardians, and trusting that all you do is you ask, and you have to trust that she'll come. You may not get what you want. We get what we need. And no one says it's going to be easy. And so those nubs in between your shoulder blades, they start to be able to, you feel the warmth, and you can feel your wings. You can feel the wings coming out. And that's the connection to the guardians. And knowing that as an earth angel, as a connection to earth, is that we came with that mission, and you came here for that purpose, to be a part of the work that needs to be done on earth, human, to really stay connected to your human, to know that you are a spiritual being having the human experience, means that you're here to embark upon really truly living on earth, not to live like you're dead. And I just did a blog. It's not going to be out right away here, but the blog is about living, we live a lifetime living as if we are dead, just existing, right? So just like the just existing, we live in those lies and half-assed truth. And so the real truth is to always feel like you're alive. So you notice how little kids are like so excited, and they just go and they run and they play. And then somebody stops them in their tracks. Don't do that. Stop that. Right. And so and then they go, oh! Instantly, we just suck the life. It's like, that's bad. You're a bad, bad kid. And instantly, boom, there comes the life. And I always think back about, so I don't know if my Aunt Sheila's still here, but her youngest son, when my daughter was born, he made a call one day, And he phoned, and my mother answered phone, and he says, "Did you just put Maggie in the sunshine in the window?" And mom's like, "Yeah, actually we did. We just changed around her bedroom." And he just knew. He just knew everything that we did. I mean, we're of course we're gifted, but it's like we just know. And so children just know, and they just do. And we forget that. And that takes us away to be like, they just have hope. They just have faith. They just believe their world is going to be beautiful until somebody tells them it's not. They believe they're beautiful until somebody tells them they're ugly. They believe they're good until somebody tells them they are bad. And that's how we start to fall out of connection. That's how we start to put on the mask and the personas and the roles, and we start to become a performer. Or we get another sibling, and then you start to act up and act out because you're not getting the same attention. You go from being everything to being nothing, right? And it's like you can't understand that. You come into the world and everybody gives you all this attention, and then you get another sibling, and then it's like, oh, well, you got to be quiet now. Now you have to be a grown up. And now we start throwing, you're the big one, you're the grown up one. And it's like, really? Or you come in and you're the baby, and everybody treats you like you're the baby, and then you're all coddled up, and then all of a sudden you got to go out in the real world. But once you go to school, you're not the baby, you're just like everybody else. You're just another kid, right? And so then you just can't handle that the world don't treat you as special as what the family at home just treated you. So then you're all put out. So then you're always like sad and upset that no one's, nobody gives me the attention. I don't have that attention, or you had the lack of. And so all of those stories you carry through life, and it takes us away from grace, takes us away from believing in us. There you are, Sheila, talking about the power of, just the kids, and right, and having that energy of just knowing, like when the kids just knew that Maggie's crib was under that window in the sunshine. They just knew. And they just know because they trust everything that they hear inside. They trust that spirit connection, and we lose that connection. And then when we can't save the world, we start to shut down. When you can't help people, and you can't be the change, and you're like, I don't want these gifts. I don't want to use my gifts. And kids don't get that. Kids just naturally do it. And then when you tell kids to get rid of their imaginary friends, or that their imaginary friends are not real, or their dreams are not real, it's like the moment adults start to do that. And I just remember one time the kids talking about seeing like grandparents or Mother Marys or things like that. And it's like, no, my God, oh my God, like you can't, no, 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 that's not real. Why do we do that to children? And we're from a family, so my Aunt Sheila and I, we're from a family that has some pretty powerful psychic abilities and telepathic abilities and those type of things. And so our kids naturally have it. My little granddaughter talks to me all the time. I can hear her calling out to me. And so there is that ability. So we all come with an innate ability to be able to trust your intuition. And you also come in grace. You come in unconditional love. You arrived well wrapped in everything that you will need to provide a beautiful life. How it gets taken away is tainted and tarnished, and just life. And the role that you play, or what you witness and experience, and the stories that you start to tell yourself, how you start to create your identity. Joanne, I feel connected to this card. This is the second time this week I saw you pull this card. Both times I had truth bumps. Yes, right? There is. There's such magic in this card. And I believe my grandmother Pansy is truly a guardian with Sadie. Before Sadie was born, I had to take some of my little pieces of jewelry. I have a little pendant of my grandmother's that says mother. And we put it in Sadie's bedroom, and it's up on her mirror. And Maggie, my daughter, always would see her grandmother, and she says, I know she's here. And I'm like, oh, she's there. And so there's this beautiful, when you know and you don't ever doubt how beautifully protected we are from the other side, you stop doubting. You stop doubting and you start trusting. And when you start to trust, you never doubt if you are ever loved, because the love that surrounds us is greater than anything you can ever feel from any human being who lives up on earth. It makes me cry to think about it. It's because I feel it every single day. I live in this kind of love that stays connected into a love that once you feel it and you can really truly connect to it, you will return to grace. And when you can return to living life in grace, you don't lose hope and faith. You just know that life is going to challenge us. It is not going to be easy, but we have so many angel wings wrapping around us and keeping us safe. But us earth angels, those that are earth angels that are here to do the angelic work on earth, to be those good human beings that just do the right thing for the right reasons, are needed now more than ever. And I wouldn't be bringing this up today if they weren't among this group in here somewhere. So being able to step into that light, to treat yourself with such love, nurture you right now. And by nurturing you, you stop living in the fear that is being instilled and imprinted upon us right now. Because I'm telling you, from what I channel out there, I know people talk these fear stories. From what I channel out there, it's like everything that we are conditioned to believe in fear, the inevitable is always there. The inevitable amount of time that we'll live upon this earth is always present. The fear of death. Why is it we become afraid of death when somebody else tells us we should fear death? That could happen any single moment of the day, but we don't think about it. And then once it's thrown at you every day, then you start to live in fear of it. It can happen any single moment. Not one moment beyond this moment is guaranteed. So why do we let these moments slip away? We're not here to let these moments slip away. You're here to live with them. You're here to live in that moment, to be present in that moment, and to miss out on the opportunities to spend it with the people that you love dearly, to be in that energy, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. And this little child, if you can look, she's looking at her eyes. You see her eyes, they're looking up. And so she's like imagining her life. She's like still living in the ability to be imagining, right? Yes, exactly, Joanne. Right. My mom is her twin. My middle name is Grace, and I shared my birth date with your grandfather. Maybe see? That's oh my God, Joanne, I didn't realize that. Okay. I mean, I knew our relation, but and so the guardian wings that you're looking at always, so I'm going to tell you a story. So the guardian wings of how I do this, and every single Mother's Day, because when I was going through my hardest time, there would be, in the middle of freaking fall in northern Alberta, I would find a pansy and a daisy everywhere. A pansy and a daisy. And so pansy and daisy, when this card came, I said each one of those wings is, one is pansy, one is daisy. They come together. They are never separated. They are always together. And so my granddaughter's middle name is also Grace. Her name is Sadie Grace Louise. And so she's Sadie Grace Louise. So very connected, yes, to our family. My grandfather, so Pop Thorne, my grandfather Thorne, I had my palms read not long ago. And he said to me, he said, you have a man who is your grandfather. His name is Robert, and he is here for you now. Whatever is happening in your world, in your family's world, your grandfather is here with you. He has a fishing net and a basket. And he says, that's how you will know he's here. And he loves his rubber boots. And I knew instantly. And so it's like, how could I not? It was too obvious. And he says, he's in your hands. And he says, he's that healing. You're his girl. Like, he's here to help you guys in some way. So yes, Joanne. So you are getting that connection to that card, all for that reason. Every single Mother's Day, on Mother's Day, I go out and I buy a basket of pansies and a basket of daisies. And I put it out on my front lawn, out on my front deck, every single Mother's Day for Pansy and Daisy. Because to anyone who don't know us, is that Pansy and Daisy is my grandmother and her twin sister. And they're two special human beings, and they're both on the other side. And so, yeah. And that's the magic of how this works, Joanne. And so, yeah, we are much surrounded right now. All right. So now we're going to give one last card to go with this. I'm glad your arms are covered in bumps, because they're here to wake you up too. We're not everyday people. You're one of us, Joanne. You're one of us. And so this will finish out the cards. They were angels on earth. Exactly. That's what I said. They taught me everything about who I am, about being a good person and doing the right things for the right reason, because there was no one on earth like those people. And Bobby Thorne was the best human being I think that ever walked. I never heard my grandfather raise his voice, complain, nothing, but he would never eat rabbit food. 32. So next card is 32, and we have Queenie coming up. And so Queenie is coming up, and I kind of got to watch my phone here now because I got to go for a massage. So last card, and this is Queenie. This is 32. And she's coming into the crossing over the bridge, as we spoke about. When you treat yourself with love and respect, and that you no longer treat yourself like garbage. If you treat somebody like this, then you're going to get that in return. And this is about treating yourself as the best of the best, like loving yourself the same way you would love somebody else, to give yourself the same love, attention, to speak to yourself in a critical, harsh way. Don't be harsh with your thoughts, with your words to yourself, to be able to cross that bridge, to think from the higher self. Your higher self would never would never speak to you in that kind of way. Good, Sheila. I'm glad you're tearing up because yes, you're part of this too. So we have a little gathering of our amazing, powerful energy in here right now with my family. And so there's 3 of us in here right now. Power 3, which is exactly how I came in, ladies. So Joanne and Sheila's my aunt, Joanna's my cousin. And so the first card came out was the power of 3. And so 3 powerful beings that are passed down from earth angels. And there's a connection here today. And so there's a lot of angelic healing love that's coming in. And my grandmother and my Aunt Daisy opened their doors for everybody, just as we do. So the doors of love are opened up for everybody today, for healing for everyone today, as we're sending healing out on a day that feels like it's a day of peace. I don't know what's to come tomorrow. I feel like I said this morning, this feels like a calm before a storm, but I don't ever worry about what tomorrow brings. I worry about today. I live in today. I don't worry about today. I'm living in today. So there is a beautiful doors are opening to offering out a healing to the world today. And for you to look at yourself in the eyes of the beholder, to see yourself as the child of God consciousness, to see yourself as worthy, beautiful, and wonderful, and that the world is here to embrace. And to my family right there, stop hiding who you are. Let yourselves come out, open your hearts to you, and start treating yourselves with such love and respect. And so that you can shine. Yeah. You found 2 dimes together yesterday? See, they come together. I'm telling you, I find pansies and daisies in the weirdest of spots, and it's like so crazy. But yeah, so every Mother's Day. So Mother's Day this year, go get yourself a basket, Joanne, of pansies and daisies. But that's what the 2 wings in those cards represent. And so they represent pansy and daisy. And everything else represents the yellow. So the yellow is the one stone that fell out of my family ring, which I have my grandmother's family ring, and you'll see me wear it every now and then. I can't wear it often because it's got a missing stone that can't be replaced apparently because it's not strong enough, but it's the one yellow stone that's missing. So it's right here with us. So she's imagining a world, imagine a life where you actually can feel this love that makes you cry. When you can cry for you and you can feel that much compassion for you, now you're starting to listen to you. When you can feel that, you know that's a truth. And when you can feel that truth, you start to live in that truth. And so just know that we are surrounded in such beautiful energy. I found 2 down on top of my washer this morning, girls. So yeah, 2 dimes together as well, Sheila, yesterday. Yeah. And I went down this morning and I don't know how they got there, but there's 2 dimes on top of my washing machine. So yeah, there's a message here for us. There's something big. And so everybody today, just know with all of my heart, with all of the energy, the vessel that opens up to give out this healing into the world. Today, my hands are open, my candles are lit, and I'm sending healing out to each and every one of you so that you can all start to come home to your heart, to feel for you today, to allow your heart to receive whatever healing that it is, so that you don't live a life that is so much in fear, that hope starts to come back into our world, that we live in this place of hope. Oh my God, no way, Heather. Are you kidding me? So Heather says she found 2 on her washing machine this morning, and Daisy is her nan. Wow. Wow, 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 Heather. How freaking cool. See? Right? And you found two in your youngster's car seats on the way to Joanne's? See, you just can't make this shit up. I'm telling you, it's magical. It's so beautiful, so wonderful. You'll never be afraid of this. You'll never be afraid of this when you can feel and live in the awe and the excitement and the magic of this. So I can tell you today we have a lot of loved ones. So yes, Joanne, exactly what the fuck. So girls, we could all stay in here all day, but I can't. I got to go get a massage. So know that we have beautiful energy surrounding everybody who's in here today. Remember your guardians, and the guardians are with us on earth today, and whatever is coming down, whatever's going on, know your guardians are with you. Ask your guardians to walk with you. Ask your guardians to walk ahead of you. Ask your guardians to clear out anything that is holding you hostage to the past, that is holding your heart heavy, that is making you feel heavy, weighted down, and to just let yourself be free today. Much, much love and hope. Hope brings us into a place of grace and a place of peace. Have a beautiful day and much, much love to each and every one. And yes, we are definitely all meant to connect. So have a beautiful day. Mwah. I see you guys later. Much love.